Talk about low-budget flights. No food or movies? I'm out of here. I like running better. Welcome back, YouTube viewers, to another video. So, DreamWorks just released the Dogman movie a few days ago. And, of course, I saw it, and now we are here, making a video on it. This movie was announced something like 4 or 5 years ago, and I really wanted to see a Dogman movie, especially when I found out that it's from the same studio that did the Captain Underpants movie, which I still remember seeing back in 2017. Which, if you've seen my DreamWorks ranking, you know that I really like the Captain Underpants movie, and I didn't just read the Captain Underpants books a lot when I was younger. I also read Dogman a lot, so I was really excited to see how this would go. And I have to say, before I get into this, that this is just gonna spoil the movie rotten because I don't like making non-spoiler reviews. But if you do want a spoiler for your review, well, you can look at the title of the video, and also I'll just say that yeah, it's really good. It's funny. It's got some great visuals that are really creative and look kind of like claymation. It's a really nice style. Um, it feels very respectful to the books and does some things even better, I'd say. Uh, if you want to know where it goes on my DreamWorks ranking, you can check my letterbox, which I'll link down in the description. Without further ado, let's dive on into the Dogman movie. Dogman himself is he's Dogman. He's really good. I like how they didn't make him talk. A lot of people thought they would, and I just never thought that because why would they? It's just not how it's supposed to go. I don't know. If it were made by some other studio like Sony, then yeah, they might do that. But I don't think DreamWorks would do that. And no, they didn't. I made a video about the movie's trailer a while ago, and yeah, I'd say the movie lived up to that. Dogman himself is just really funny. Because yeah, it's pretty simple. The jokes are that he is a dog. But the reason they work is because they don't really use the same jokes over and over again. They actually come up with new ones. And since there's so much other stuff happening in the movie, you never feel like you're just getting tired of him and want to see something else. But it's also not like some of the later books in the series where he barely does anything and it just does not feel like it's supposed to be called Dogman anymore. I like how they don't really try to just put a ton into his backstory or whatever. It's just no. Officer Knight and Greg the dog are chasing after Petey, and they get blown up, and they decide to sew the dog's head onto the man's body. And I can quote this movie word for word at some points because it's pretty similar to the book. They just sometimes quote the book word for word. I also like this little joke, though, how I guess Officer Knight, who is the body of Dogman, used to have some girlfriend, and I guess Dogman was going to go to her and be her friend, I guess, but she just moved out and he feels alone now and sad. You know, the typical kids movie trope of the main character is sad that he's alone. Except this is probably done the best I've ever seen. Maybe Flushed Away did it a little better, I don't know, but yep, Dogman's not that complex a character or anything. I mean, yeah, he's Dogman, but what we do get out of him is actually kind of interesting, and he's just really funny. I like Dogman. Petey feels like the main character in this movie, and I definitely wouldn't say it's a bad thing because he is great. They perfectly translated him from Dave Pilkey's books. His design, his voice fits really well. All his tones, the jokes with him, like about paying his assistant. They kept Petey's secret lab. Look here, the big little lit up sign. They even do a variation of the vacuum cleaner bit, which is just, or no, the firecrackers bit, which is probably the funniest part of any of the Dogman books to me. It's not exactly the same, but it definitely is close enough. And I think that was the part where the people in the theater laughed the most. I just find that to be funny. This movie does a better job than the books, I'd say, at trying to make him you feel kind of bad for him because it doesn't feel as forced. I think part of that is because this is just an hour and a half movie. It's not like the books where we spend 2 books with him as this horrible villain who is completely evil and has no redeeming qualities, and then all of a sudden they want us to, sure, he's cartoonishly evil, but still, and in the 3rd book they want us to feel bad for him. And here it actually feels slower and better paced, so I actually kind of care about him this time. Also, what really surprised me is that Little Petey is not annoying. Little Petey ruined the Dogman books. Prepare for me to go on a brief tangent is that I was flipping through some the later Dogman books, book 5 recently, and I found out that everything that it wasn't about Little Petey in later books, that he was actually still just as funny as the first two books. But whenever he was there, he was just so annoying, and he took away all the screen time, and he was just boring. And again, he contributes to Petey just randomly being turned into a good guy for no reason. Part of the reason why I like the fourth book, because Petey is just the villain. But yeah, here his humor comes less from potty humor, which the Captain Underpants movie actually did pretty well, but still, here the humor comes more so from the fact that he was technically just born, since he's Petey's clone, and he has to wait 18 years for the clone to reach adulthood, which is pretty good. So his humor comes from just, his naivete, his gullibility, and he doesn't sound as annoying as I thought he would either. He is genuinely kind of charming. He's still not great or anything, but I at least found him likable, which is something I was never expecting to say about Little Petey. I was worried he ruined this movie, but no, I was completely wrong. He might have actually made it better? Because I feel like the plot might have been a little too bare bones without him. I don't know. I also like the stuff with Petey's grandpa, because I know he was in one of the later books I read, where he was the villain of one of them, but no, here it's just Petey says how, yeah, I got abandoned. My dad just hopped up in a truck, took away all our stuff and left me and my mom out to hanging us out to dry. So, and Petey goes on all about through this whole movie about how life stinks and the world is miserable, and you may think it's all sunshines and rainbows, but it's not. And little Petey actually starts to kind of believe this, especially as the movie goes on and all that. But then, there's Petey's whole character arc at the end where he decides that, the world can't be all terrible because you're in it. That line very easily could have felt really sappy. Because this is actually done quite well, it's like the Wild Robot where, again, it could have felt sappy, but it's done just right to the point of where it feels actually kind of touching instead of just stupid. Yeah, I do like the stuff with Petey's grandpa. Little Petey or Petey's father, I guess. Little Petey gets him to show up, and he mostly just sits there and yells and all that. And yeah, at the end, he just takes away all their stuff and drives away in a car or truck, just like he did to Petey and his mom all those years ago. And it proves Little Petey's point that, it's kind of showing Little Petey. The movie there shows that Petey and Little Petey are both right to a certain extent. As we'll get to later, Little Petey was right that even people who seem to be real jerks and really bad can be good. But what we see from Petey's father proves that no, some people really are just jerks. I also just love, again, how I mentioned how this movie quotes the books a lot. I really liked the different quotes we get from Petey, like the "I want my whisker back," "I want my money back," "I want my life back." I also like the undo button bit. That was quite good. Chief. I think Chief in this movie is the same voice actor as George from the Captain Underpants movie, which, by the way, George and Harold have a cameo in this movie. That was really nice. So, Chief is just about exactly as I expected him to be, and he's really funny for that. I think they actually kind of give him a sort of mini arc, though, about how Dogman is renowned as this great cop for stopping Petey and getting him back into cat jail all the time, but since Petey escapes so much, while Dogman looks good for capturing him, Chief looks bad because, he's the chief of police. Although it says the mayor's brother is the warden, which would explain it. And yeah, just side note, I love how the mayor isn't just some random character. It's the mayor from the books, from this one chapter where the mayor is evil. It's the exact same design. It's a nice touch. Chief is just funny in this movie. I don't really have a ton to say. And I like the hotline joke with the "life's not fair," and then bips him in the donut. Chief is funny. That's it. That's all he needs to be. Flippy. I was not expecting Flippy to be in this movie. He was not in any of the trailers, any of the posters. Good credit to the marketing team. They did not spoil anything. So, Flippy is handled pretty much about as well as you could. At first, I thought they really just were going to get rid of him. Not only because he wasn't in any of the posters, but I thought the most we'd get is the joke with the whole, what about that time with the fish and the psychokinetic powers? That's literally a dead fish. But I was always get out of Petey, that would be fine. Then we get this recap basically saying that the entire events of Dogman Unleashed happened, to not be confused with Sonic Unleashed. But yeah, so they go. So Petey's his brain is being studied by the super awesome science center over there, which is also something I remember. Despite me having not having read some of these books in years, I still remember stuff like that because it's funny. I like his Flippy has this weird British accent for some reason. I thought he was voiced by Richard Ayoade, who was Marmalade and the bad guys. He's not. He goes through the same arc as he does in the third book, where he finds, oh, the reason I was evil is because everyone was mean to me. No one really cared about me. I decided to become a huge jerk. All I wanted was a friend. And again, while it's cheesy, it's not as bad as it was in the book, because Lil PD is much less annoying here, and it actually feels a little more earned. So yeah, it works well. I like how he brings to life the beastie buildings with the living spray from the book. That was really clever. Final thoughts and conclusion. Dogman is just really good. It's not some kind of 10 out of 10 a perfection masterpiece or whatever, but I'd still give it an 8 out of 10. I thought it was really good. I think the Captain Underpants movie's a little better. I can't really decide. Any final thoughts though on it? Yeah, I mentioned the visuals before. I really like how it's not. I like the style of the Captain Underpants movie. Well, this is similar instead of just being that. You know, it's sort of that, but it's done to look kind of like it's made in claymation, which is a really nice touch you never see. Look, I love the Spider-Verse art style. Don't love that movie, and I like how it was carried on to Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, which they made its own thing out of it. DreamWorks, which made this movie. That looked different on its own. They evolved it with the Wild Robot, where it wasn't really made to look 2D anymore, but it still kind of captured that, or is flashy, but it still kind of captured that same kind of aesthetic in its backgrounds. But no, this is something really unique, and I appreciate that. As cool as that art style is, it's nice to get something fresh. That's what I like about DreamWorks. Um, it might actually be a good thing that inconsistency is their brand, because you always know that they're gonna make something good sooner or later, and they make a lot of movies too, and they're usually pretty unique from each other. Also, I just love the amount of background gags in this movie because I could tell what all of them were, even if you barely see them. I got laughs out of them that people in the audience might not necessarily have laughed, or at least they wouldn't have laughed it as hard because I don't know if they understood them. I talked to some of the people in the theater though. They said they did read these books, so who knows. I love how Philly, the cheesesteak mascot, is in this. At first I just thought they'd show him as the statue in the beginning, but later they show him later on. They say they're on top of the giant euro. That's not a euro. It's Philly, our cheesesteak mascot. You see this giant statue of a hot dog with eyes in the mouth. Looks exactly like a one of the talking hot dogs from one of the books. I love the Dizzy's Drippy's Donuts gag character or whatever is just in one scene with the exact same personality. There's a wanted poster in the background of the police station for the Fair Ferry. I like the jokes with Millie, those were funny. I don't know why they race swapped her though, but whatever. Sarah Half was pretty funny. I like how she still has her dog. I like her cameraman too. So ADHD was fun, which I only just realized when watching this movie that it's supposed to mean, AD, or ADHD as in the medical condition. It's pretty funny. Yeah, just Dogman was really good, and I totally recommend you watch it if you haven't, which, if you watched the spoiler review, then why haven't you seen it yet? It did pretty well on its opening weekend. Yes, $40 million is actually kind of pathetic, but much like Sonic 3, if you look at it, how many countries it released in something like 2, 3 countries on its opening. Transformers 1 made about the same amount of money on its opening, but that released in a lot of countries, so that was bad. Also, this movie was made on a really low budget. Apparently, it only cost $40 million to make, which does not show at all. It's really impressive. So yeah, Dogman, really good movie. It's nice to see we're back into the another stretch of DreamWorks makes some really good movies before they switch into making some bad ones again. So yeah. Oh, also there was that. If you see this in theaters, you'll see original short to promote The Bad Guys 2 coming out in August with all the voice actors and everything. I was not expecting that at all. It was really fun. So yeah, Dogman, really good. 8 out of 10. Solid, great adaptation. That's all for now, and remember to stay way past cool.